And welcome everyone to this qualifying watch along here for this year's Monaco Grand Prix. It is an early morning here in the States, here on the East Coast. We're about to begin qualifying. I have commentary on in the background, the international feed, so the Sky Sports feed with subtitles on as well. If you want to go watch along, however you can watch it in your home country, be sure to go and watch along. I'll let you know if you're watching this on replay. If you just wanted to watch this along with somebody, I'll let you know when the 18-minute timer starts, because again, it is 18 minutes. Tyler along with you here for this watch along. I'm so excited to be back here on the pit straight. Exciting news, the flying lap is coming back today. In fact, we're going to be catching up on all Formula 1 because, of course, on Wednesday, at the day of this going out, we had the F1 2026 season pack come out for F1 25. I was able to pick that up and recorded all the flying laps for up to next week in Barcelona, Catalonia. So today, starting at 12 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube, and if you're over on Twitch, go follow us on YouTube. This live stream is active over there, and also we've also got other video content as qualifying. If you're wanting to figure out where I am, if you're watching the F1 TV feed specifically, we are at the 1 minute mark now. The starts and clock just hit 1 minute. So, like I said, flying lap will start at 12 today. And they'll go at 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is when the Monaco lap will be out. So what we're seeing in qualifying, that is when that will go out. Ooh, excuse me. But I'm excited to be back here. My yawning would tell you otherwise, but I really am excited to be back here for a watch along. Again, our last one I think was the Formula E race. I forget which one it was. But now we're doing qualifying again, 22 car qualifying due to Cadillac coming in to the series. So, speaking of Cadillac, we're seeing one of their cars on the grid right now. And again, this is, I believe, an 18-minute Q1 session. Position 16 through 22, position 17 through 22 will be decided because they bumped it up to, there's now 22 cars on the grid, so that means there'll be an extra spot in each one. And the clock is about to hit 0, and we should be getting going here at any second. Also, if you are watching on YouTube or on Twitch, be sure to put your thoughts in the chat. I would love to read those out on stream and reply to you in the chat box as well. And here they go. Q1 has officially started. Just looking at both Mercedes currently in the garages. We'll see how they do because, of course, this is the first weekend that there might have been a possible loophole closed for Mercedes. So we're looking at fans in the stands at the Monaco Grand Prix. And we're looking at Oliver Behrman currently being shown on screen. Also, if you enjoy the motorsports content that you're watching here on the Pit Straight in this live stream, be sure to subscribe to the channel on YouTube and follow us here on Twitch for more motorsports live streams, and that would include video games. So just looking at the beautiful Lowe's hairpin. And just waiting for the first timings to come in, because again, session just started. Looking at an Aston Martin, that's Lance Stroll coming out. Looking at a Red Bull coming out of the garage as well. I believe this is, yep, Isaac Hadjar is now out, followed by a McLaren. Looks like Lando Norris is McLaren, followed by a Ferrari. I can't tell the number on the Ferrari. This is Charles Leclerc, of course, his home Grand Prix. As we're about to get our first times of the session for all these teams. We can look. I'm looking at F1 TV, and you can just see all the onboards. Verstappen is still in the garage. Norris is on his outlap. Bortoletto's in the tunnel currently. Hadjar is about to enter the Lowe's hairpin. Gasly's on the front stretch for what I would assume to be his first lap. Antonelli, Alonso's at the Nouvelle chicane. Or the chicane at the bottom of the port. I can't remember if that's the Nouvelle chicane or not. I believe it is. And then looking at the celebrities, of course. Got to do that if you're an F1 broadcast. Got to show the celebrities that are in-house. And coming across the line. No official times yet have been coming across the board. We are in the 15 minutes Looking at Hamilton in the tunnel as well. Second year at Ferrari, of course. And looking at the city of, and the Principality of Monaco here as the Ferraris are together. Hamilton, ooh, that was close. Hamilton saying Charles backing into me. Assuming that means getting it set up for his run as Hamilton, and I believe that was Gasly, were very close to coming together there. No, that wasn't Gasly. That would have been Colapinto. That was a close hit there between the Ferrari and the Alpine. As across the line, should be getting our first lap. Perez, Bottas, and Colapinto, currently the top three. They haven't shown times yet. Gasly is fourth. So right now, the Cadillacs are over everyone right now. I'm assuming Gasly's now on his first lap. They may be doing a 2-lap warm-up here, as Gasly's now on his first lap. See the stopwatch on the screen as he has a green sector 1. So green means, of course, that is his personal best, but not the session best. Session best is always in purple. And then we're looking around the lows here, Pin. And we're seeing Gasly going into the tunnel now. Behrman not far behind. There he is, in fact. As Gasly's in the tunnel. Coming down to the chicane. With, of course, a little bit of a wall extension there, as photographers were pointing out. As Gasly, looks like this might be the first true lap that we've got. Perez and Bottas are still listed as 1 and 2 on the timing pylon. And Gasly's now coming up. Behrman currently with a purple sector 2. Perez is first. Colapinto is second. Here we go across the line. Gasly with a 1:18.598. Behrman with a 1:15.936 pushes him up. Purple, very briefly purple, second and third sectors there for Behrman. We're about to see what happened with Gasly. Had a little bit of a moment coming over the routes out of Casino Square. Little bit of a wiggle. Almost hit the outside barriers. That's probably what caused him to lose some time. As Leclerc is now on his flying lap with a purple sector 1. Seeing the lineups change. No one, I don't think everyone's putting in a full run. Hadjar, mate, that's the worst prep ever. Come on, what are we doing? Obviously frustrated with his fellow drivers out on track on the prep lap. So it looks like it's going to be an out lap, prep lap, and then the flying lap. As Leclerc purple all the way through. The top time right now is Liam Lawson in the Racing Bull with a 1:07 as he hits the final corner coming across the line. Again, there's no straight mode. The wings are shut throughout this whole lap, so you're just focusing on battery. And there he goes with a 1:14.141. Charles Leclerc currently in first. Of course, it's not the session that we expect him to be falling out of, but it is good to see like where these teams stand at the moment. As McLarens are coming around now, we're looking at Oscar Piastri coming out of the final corner. He's got a time of 1:14.141 to beat. Norris is in second, 0.154 behind. And here comes Piastri, fifth fastest at the moment. Antonelli next. Now 1:14.3 with a quick sector 3, purple sector 3, as Russell comes across the line, 1:15.732. So right now the Mercedes, depending on how their warm-up laps went, not doing so great for Verstappen. Looks like he aborted the lap coming out of the penultimate corner. Bortoleto across the line in the Audi. He's now moved up to fifth. And we're looking at Isaac Hadjar now. And I believe they were talking about Verstappen abandoning the lap. And Hadjar currently 0.8 of a second over Alonso, so he should be getting out of the bottom six. Right now, the two Red Bulls have not set a truly quick lap yet. They have times on the board, but nothing yet. But here they come across the line. Isaac Hadjar in the Red Bull jumps up to 9th place. 1:15.007 as Max Verstappen with a purple sector 1 with a lot of traffic in front of him now, and probably the sector of the track where you least want it, because this is the sector with the speed. 1 second faster than Perez as the Mercedes barely gets out of Verstappen's way. He's got a Racing Bulls directly in front of him and now gets out of his way. So traffic is now clear for Verstappen as he enters the final corner. Looking at his time, he's got a 1:15.799 to beat, which even with that traffic, he should be able to do. And across the line, jumps up to 5th with a 1:14.504. So currently, after everyone's first runs, we're looking at a replay of Verstappen going through the traffic there. There was a big traffic jam in Monaco, and Max Verstappen found most of it. Most of that traffic. As we're looking at his aborted lap earlier, as Lando Norris now crosses the line with a 1:13.7, so immediately gains some time back. Leclerc, purple in all 3 sectors, crosses the line with a 1:13.399. Bottom 6 currently: Colapinto, Alonso, Perez, Stroll, Albon, and Bottas. I don't know why I said his name so differently. Bottas. Currently in the bottom 6 as we're looking at Piastri. We've already seen an improvement in times of around 0.6 of a second from their first flying lap. And Ocon across the line, Esteban Ocon.
The Frenchman. I don't know why my GoPro did that. I apologize. Now I'm in classic 4x3. As we're looking at Albon in the Williams in the second to last corner, got a Ferrari on the outside. I believe that was of Hamilton. And here he comes across the line. Is Albon. Let's see what he can do. He's currently sitting outside of the top 16, but now climbs back into it with a 15th place position as the Ferrari, I believe that was of Hamilton, is now doing another lap here. 3 drivers in the pits currently: Alonso, Perez, and Liam Lawson. The other 19 are on track. We're looking on board at Kimi Antonelli. Of course, the Italian in the lead of the World Championship going into this Monaco Grand Prix. As we're looking at Hamilton, who should just be entering the tunnel any second now, because he's currently behind Antonelli. And also in the pits now includes Lance Stroll, so the Cadillacs and the Aston Martins are the only cars in the pits right now. But saying that, Alonso now out on track. So again, Antonelli going through the swimming pool section here. One of the most fascinating sections of any circuit on the Formula One calendar. I love when I play the F1 games going through that section. It is a lot of fun. And here comes Antonelli. Purple sector 2 for Lewis Hamilton, but Antonelli, the driver who took over from Hamilton, yellow sector 3, not able to improve his positioning. Hamilton now with a purple sector 2 across the line, jumps Antonelli P3 1:13.804. As we have 7 minutes left in this Q1 session. As Antonelli, as we're looking at Russell, coming across the line with a 1:14.857, moves himself. He's only managed to 10th fastest. Currently, the 2 Audis are ahead of Russell. We're actually looking at Antonelli and how close he got to the barriers into the chicane. Out of the tunnel, looking, a little bit of a slide there. That was so close for Antonelli. His session could have ended right there. We're looking at a replay of the other Mercedes of Russell getting a tank slapper going into the Lowe's hairpin complex. Looking at, I believe this is Hadjar, into the penultimate corner. Round Rascasse, final corner, hitting the straight. Again, a reminder, no straight mode this weekend.
And it is currently all Hadjar and Norris right now. Looking at Norris, he's currently in second, still on track. Cars in the pits now have changed. Bottas is still there, but Sainz and Behrman are currently in the pits, getting ready for their final run here of Q1. The bottom 6 all come from 3 teams: Gasly, Colapinto, Alonso, Perez, Stroll, and Bottas. Alpine, Cadillac, and Aston Martin currently are in the bottom 6 right now. Albon is right above. He is on the cut line there. Looking at Norris, Colapinto, Leclerc is on a lap as well. Norris green in both sectors so far. Colapinto 0.4 faster than Albon. And the Williams, as we're looking at Norris completing his latest lap, and across the line comes the McLaren. Yellow Sector 3 not able to improve time or position. Colapinto coming through once again. Crosses the line. He jumps out of the bottom 6. Moves up to 14th with a 115.186. Leclerc, Purple Sector 1, coming across the line in his home Grand Prix. Improves by 1.106 to 113.293. Antonelli with a Purple Sector 1. We're looking at him coming out of the chicane here. Crossing the line for Sector 2. What color will that be? Purple, green, or yellow? It is yellow. Fastest Sector 1. Slow Sector 2. Well, let's see if he can make up the time like Max Verstappen did a few years ago in Sector 3. Looking at Verstappen, he's currently on a personal best lap. Green in Sectors 1 and 2. And across the line for Antonelli. Does not improve. 0.306 behind. 113.599. Verstappen improves up to second place. 113.490. Russell in the Mercedes. Again, a reminder for the Mercedes going into this weekend. This is the first weekend where they have had the engine compression ratios being checked. And right now, they sit third and Russell in 11th. Russell is on the green sector, so we should see his positioning improve. He should at least be in the top 10 after this lap. We're about to find out as he crosses the line. And he does. Moves up to only 7th place, though. 114.214 for the Mercedes. Lawson now across the line. Liam Lawson in the Racing Bulls. Jumps up to 9th. 114.498. And here comes the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso crossing the line. Of course, Aston Martin have been struggling a lot this season, but right now 17th, still out of the bottom 6, but has the chance to improve that massively. Has Ocon on board with him. Still seeing some fans there as we are looking at, I believe this is Hamilton now, as he enters Sector 3. I don't want to have a commentator's curse, but there have been no flags yet, no accidents so far in Q1 with just 3 minutes left to go in the session. So we're looking at Hamilton. Green Sector 1, yellow Sector 2. Where does he wrap Sector 3? Yellow, 0.484 behind his Ferrari teammate. As Hulkenberg moves up to 4th. Wait, no. Excuse me, 6th. I was about to say. Audi coming out strong here in Monaco. As Bottas, Cadillac, an American team, of course, being from the United States, and of course there's the commentator's curse. Yellow flag somewhere out on the track. Black and white flag for Antonelli, failing to follow race director's instructions. Unclear on what that is, but Bottas has moved up to 19th, and there we go. Gabriel Bortoleto is about to cause the red flag here. Of course, as soon as I say that, commentator's curse happens, and there is an accident. Let's see what happened to Bortoleto. Broke the front suspension, hitting the wall. Red flag with 2 minutes, 11 seconds left, so they can clear that debris. We're looking at Mattia Binotto, the now team principal of Audi, formerly of Ferrari. And Bortoleto is out of qualifying, currently in 14th, so he could start in 16th. Let's see what happened. Replay showing here on F1 TV. As coming out, clips the inside and broke the front suspension. As he said, front left suspension. He clipped the inside wall just barely. And he is out. Thankfully, he didn't hit the wall, so there should be a fairly quick cleanup. No, doesn't look like there's any major debris from the contact itself, but that is out for Bortoleto in Q1. He is now safely off the track. All the cars will be coming to the pits. With 2:11 left to go, most likely you're going to have the traditional one out lap, and then you've got to go for it, especially if you're Perez, currently the bottom 6. Sergio Perez in 17th, Oliver Behrman in 18th, Carlos Sainz in 19th, Valtteri Bottas in 20th, Fernando Alonso in 21st, and Lance Stroll in 22nd. Cadillac, Haas, Williams, Cadillac, Aston Martin make up your bottom 6 at the moment. I'd be surprised if we see any of the top 8 go out and make a really good, true attempt here, because you would assume that those positions are safe. But expect Hadjar, Gasly, Lawson, Colapinto, not Bortoleto because he's now out, Arvid Lindblad, Esteban Ocon, Perez, Behrman, Sainz, Bottas, Alonso, and Stroll. I would expect them to see them out here in the last few minutes to see what will happen as we're looking at the tires currently of, I believe this is Ocon. Oh, excuse me, Behrman. Now looking at Perez going back into the garage. Perez is only 0.025 to 25 thousandths of a second behind. Right now, looking at Perez, we're looking to see how close he got to the barriers. He got so close he moved them. A little bit of a kiss there from Perez on the barriers. It's currently yellow flag, so that would mean that the car has surely been moved out of the way. Pit exit closed currently. All the cars in the pits. So if Bortoleto is able to hold that position, he will be able to move on to Q2 technically. So he'll be starting 16th, but of course I would expect maybe a pit lane start for him of some sort because of the repairs they got to make to the cars. Since both Cadillacs at the end of the grid move that perfectly as the pit lane is about to open once again. And we'll see what happens here in the last 2 minutes and 11 seconds. And Q1 will resume at 4:22 local time. So that is in about 2 minutes here. So quick cleanup there. Great job to the marshals in Monaco for this Grand Prix. Speaking of Monaco, we're looking at the harbor there. You can see all the boats, all the yachts that are here for the Grand Prix weekend. I'm looking at the fans out in the stands. This qualifying is set to resume if you're watching along at 2:20 on the clock. So we still got 2 minutes left to go before this session restarts, but then of course it will go right out. And during that 10-minute break, we'll be taking a break here as well. We'll just be going to our countdown here for Q2 as we're looking at, looks like Colapinto and a Williams not letting each other out. And .145 left to go. Again, still looking at the skyline of Monaco there. Just waiting on the session to resume here. Minute and a half left to go. So I'll use this time to promote the Pit Straight. If you want to see more motorsports content just like this, such as the Flying Lap, watch-alongs, or even live streams of gaming, I'm thinking about with the F1 2026 season pack, I'm thinking about even doing a 100% race around the Madrid circuit at some point in the future. Be sure to follow us here on the Pit Straight. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel for videos, shorts, and other content just like that. And if you're here on Twitch, this will be our other exclusive home for live streaming, so be sure to subscribe to follow us here on Twitch for more content just like this. If you're over here on Facebook, go follow us there. If you want to see these live in the moment, go check us out on YouTube and on Twitch. Also, I have talked about wanting to start like a blog kind of style thing over on Facebook, so if you want to go see if that comes to fruition, what that looks like in the future, go and check that out over there. And if you're watching on all of our other platforms, you want to see it live first and in the moment, YouTube and Twitch will be where we live stream from. 27 seconds left to go. Looking at Lewis Hamilton, his personal best is a 113.777. Looking at the iconic 44. And we're looking at Williams versus Alpine in the pit lane as Colapinto is able to jump in the line there as pit lane is about to the pit exit is about to open once again. And all of these drivers will have one do or die lap as the light goes green. The two Cadillacs are the two first out there. Looking at a line of about 10 cars, 10 to 12 cars at the moment. Again, I wouldn't expect any of the top 8. There is a McLaren in line. I wouldn't expect any of the top 8 to make another attempt, but if they feel like they need to improve their time, we will definitely see that. But to get all the traffic, everyone needs to cross the line before the clock hits 0 to start their lap officially. The knockout time is projected to be a 1:14.5 according to Amazon AWS graphic on screen. And the cars are coming around for one more lap. Currently, Piastri, Albon, Gasly, Colapinto, Lindblad, Ocon, Perez, Behrman, Sainz, Bottas, Alonso, and Stroll are currently out on track. Again, some of these guys you would expect, as there is Racing Bulls currently in the pits still. Looks like this is Liam Lawson, not able to make it out. But currently Leclerc, Verstappen, Antonelli, Norris, Hamilton, Hulkenberg. We're looking at, I believe this is Hamilton now, climbing out of his Ferrari. He is good for Q1. As currently Leclerc, Verstappen, Antonelli, Norris, Hamilton, Hulkenberg, Russell, Lawson, and of course Bortoletto are not on track at the moment. So this is it, the one lap to see who climbs out of Q1. Looking at Sergio Perez, who should be the first flying lap here of the session. Let's see if he can make it to Q2. As Perez able to make it through. Again, this is his one and only lap to end the session. As Perez is into the Lowe's hairpin, the famous corner at Monaco, for the last time for Q1, looking at his teammate Valtteri Bottas behind. Not sure who has crossed the line yet. You would assume most, if not all, who left the pit lane made it, as the clock has officially hit 0. Red lights, and who missed it? That is an Alpine has missed out, did not make it over the line, so he is done. That was Colapinto, not able to cross the line. We need to be seeing Perez here as he's coming out of the chicane into the swimming pool section. Currently green, personal best, but loses time, 0.425. This is actually Valtteri Bottas that we're following, not Perez. Perez, I thought was the first car out on track, but it could be Bottas. So looking at Bottas coming across the line to end his Q1. Let's see if he can improve over the cut line. He does not. 0.561 stays in 20th position. Lance Stroll is now in the pit lane. As Behrman coming across the line, Sainz is able to improve over Ocon. Here comes Behrman in the Haas. Does not make it out. 18th position for him. Carlos Sainz, latest to come to the line. Yellow sector 1, green sector 2 needs a beat a 114.722. Sainz across the line. Makes it 10th place, 114.348. Clears it cleanly, makes it out. Currently bottom 6, and this is the final bottom 6. Esteban Ocon with a 114.722. Sergio Perez in 18th, 114.747. Behrman 19th, 114.814. Bottas 20th. Alonso 21st. And Stroll 22nd. That is your bottom 6. The two American teams, along with Aston Martin, have not made it out of Q1 as we're looking at what happened to Behrman. Looks like he had a little bit of a slide. Looks like he slid again in the swimming pool section. And just like that, we know the positioning. 2 Haas's, 2 Cadillacs with Ocon, Perez, Behrman, Bottas, Alonso, and Stroll not making it out of Q1. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back when Q2 starts in just 10 to 12 minutes time. If you're watching, don't go away. We'll be right back here on The Pit Straight. And Q2 has started. Verstappen across the line for his first flying lap, 113.205. Kicks off this session. Of course, the session started about 5 minutes ago. Decided to let the countdown run because, of course, as we saw in Q1, just some preparation laps. So now the first true laps are coming in. Verstappen, 113.205 here in Q2. Of course, bottom 6 positions, 11 through 16, are decided. In this case, with Bortoleto out, that means only the bottom 5 runners, active runners, we're watching out for. So Bortoleto is automatically in 16th place. As Leclerc crosses the line, moves up from 9th to 1st, 113.205 was Verstappen, 112.928, purple sector 3 there for the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. And across the line, Lewis Hamilton, 113.091, moves him up to 2nd. The prancing horses currently up in the top 2 as Piastri now crosses the line. Purple sector 3, 113.072. Hadjar moves up to 4th, 113.162 on his first flying lap. Lando Norris for the purple sector 2 crosses the line now, moves up to 1st place, 112.919. And here they come. All the cars going through. Currently bottom 6, Lindblad, Albon. Disregard because Russell moves up. It is now Gasly, Lindblad, Albon, Colapinto, Antonelli, and of course Bortoleto currently in 16th. Across the line comes Antonelli, 112.778, I believe, is his time. Currently in 1st, his teammate George Russell, 9/10 of a second behind in 2nd. Purple sector 3 there for Kimi Antonelli. Of course, a young Italian making his second season, sophomore season here in Formula One. Moves out of the way for Max Verstappen, who goes purple, 0.087 quicker than Antonelli there, fighting the traffic. Excuse me, of course, going from 22 total cars out there on the track to now 15 with Bortoleto being out. As Verstappen coming out into the Nouvelle Chicane where Bortoleto had his accident at the end of Q1. And crosses the line. Will he be purple, green, or yellow? He'll be green, so not session fast. Is now 1/10 of a second slower than Antonelli. Looking at Verstappen, Lawson, and Lindblad's all Red Bull back teams. Looking at Lindblad in the tunnel. Making the right turn, about to come out of the tunnel now is Lindblad. Across the line is Verstappen. He has a purple sector 3, not quite fast enough to top Antonelli, only 0.062 seconds behind the young Italian. As Lawson, looking at him, about to cross the line. Does he even get out of the bottom 6? He does, just barely, moves up to 9th. Moving Hulkenberg in the Audi out of the top 10 as Lindblad crosses the line. Doesn't improves position, but not necessarily time. 114.355 as we're watching, keeping track with the McLaren of Lando Norris. Slower sector 2, yellow sector 2 does not improve. Of course, I believe this is McLaren's 1,000th race weekend here. Such a big thing to see it at the Monaco Grand Prix as Lando Norris now crosses the line. Remains in 3rd place. We're looking on board of George Russell. In the Mercedes, getting close to the barriers here in the swimming pool section, about to pass Rascasse. Stays to the wall, comes in, and in previous years where he would activate DRS instead, he crosses the line. Doesn't improve his 8th place position. Russell not finding the speed here around the Monaco Grand Prix circuit. That's kind of an interesting prospect to see from the Brit here as we're watching Charles Leclerc, purple sector 2, 2/10 faster than Antonelli. The Ferraris are on the move. And here he comes out of the final corner, about to cross the line. Leclerc, purple sector 2, green sector 1. Just slow. 112.774. 0.7 of a second slower than the Mercedes drivers. Looking at what may have happened with George Russell coming out of the Nouvelle chicane, making the left-hander to start sector 3. Maybe just got a little bit of a oversteer, as they're saying on the broadcast, coming into the swimming pool, and that's exactly what happened. And looking on board now, I believe this is Lewis Hamilton, and it is. Hitting the inside, hitting the outside of the Nouvelle chicane, looking from what I would believe this is a drone shot, but it could be the helicopter. And here comes Hamilton, currently sitting in 6th place. 5 minutes to go in the session, and Hamilton comes in, does not complete the lap. A lot of drivers on outlaps on the moment. I don't believe anybody's on a push yet. Looking at Hamilton, they are just making a tire change. Taking out the front wing. Oh, that might be investigated for an unsafe release. That was close between the Ferrari and the Red Bull. Just doing a tire change as we're looking at the McLaren of Oscar Piastri now coming out of the tunnel. Looking at his front wing end plate, his nose cone there. And inside, outside, inside again. Into the right-hander of Rascats, into the penultimate corner, and now the final corner coming out on the straight. Let's see where he finishes up. Only in 5th, 113.010 for the Australian, as Colapinto has improved on Hulkenberg. And looking at Gasly, who was about to enter the Lowe's hairpin, his teammate just left it with 3 minutes left to go in the session. And Albon and Lindblad have been noted for a pit lane incident. I don't believe we've seen that on the broadcast yet, but that is good to note. And with 3 minutes left to go, looks like couldn't tell if that was a Red Bull or another Alpine, getting out of the way for the other Alpine. I believe that was a Red Bull machine. And here they come across the line. Both Alpines currently in the green. And across the line as Colapinto improves position, but not out of the bottom 10. Moves up to 12th. Gasly does leave the bottom 10. Moves himself up to 9th. 113.762 with 2.5 minutes left to go. Looking at Flavio Briatore, who is now with Alpine. Waiting on a driver coming out of the tunnel. This appears to be Liam Lawson as he comes out of the tunnel. Into the Nouvelle chicane and now out of it once again. 2 minutes left to go on the clock. Currently everyone is out on track. Lawson 0.5 of a second slower than Antonelli. He is at the cut line right now. In 10th position is the Kiwi. I believe he's from New Zealand. And here he comes across the line. Let's see if he improves his position. Moves up over Gasly or Russell. Does improve over Gasly, not over Russell. Moves himself up into 9th position. So we're looking at Russell coming into the tunnel. Getting him through the only indoor section of the Formula One calendar. And Russell, Ferrari getting out of his way. Russell looking to improve on his 8th place as the camera just falls there. So we're looking at the final minute. Russell would be able to cross the line and have one more flying lap if he needed it. Antonelli, purple sector 2. He's going to improve on his time. Russell coming out of the final section. Crosses the line. Let's see if he improves his position because that's what he needs at the moment. Does not. Still 8th. Piastri still in 5th, and here comes Antonelli with a 112.7. Verstappen coming after the top, cross the line. He moves up to first position with a 112.499. 2/10 faster than Antonelli. Lawson is coming into the pits. His Q2 is done. Carlos Sainz in the bottom 10. Alex Albon in the bottom 10 or in the bottom 5 as well. Here he comes across the line. Sainz improves position but not out of the elimination zone. Here comes Albon. Improves position but not out. So you would assume that is it for the Williams drivers. They do not make it to Q3 unless they try to go for one more lap. Isaac Hadjar improves position. First driver to officially end his session in 3rd. Lawson, I would also count as an official finishing position there in 9th. So not safe yet. Hamilton in 7th, seeing if he can complete his Q2 with an improvement in position. He should be safe going into the final qualifying session with a 112.934. I believe he improved position, but not too much. Only moved up one spot if he did move up. Lindblad officially in 15th. So currently we have 3 of the bottom 6 official. The Williams don't appear to be on a flyer, but they might be because they did have one more opportunity. Albon looks like he's pushing. We'll just see if they complete the lap because they can technically complete the lap. Can the Williams? Can't quite tell if Albon is pushing because that's who we're on board with. So he was looking at what could have happened there to Albon, another tank slapper coming into the start of Sector 3. And hit the inside barrier, I think. Coming on the other side of the swimming pool. Oh, yeah, definitely hit it. Wow. Albon, I'm surprised he didn't break his front suspension there. But bottom 6 in 11th. Alexander Albon in 12th, Carlos Sainz 13th, Nico Hulkenberg 14th, Franco Colapinto 15th, Arvid Lindblad, and 16th, Gabriel Bortoleto make up the bottom 6. We'll be back in 10 minutes time for Q3, the final 12 minutes, where we'll figure out who the pole winner is for tomorrow's Monaco Grand Prix. See you guys in 10 minutes time. This is Tyler here on the Pit Straight. And we're back for Q3. The first times in this final session are coming in. Lewis Hamilton currently quickest with a 112.553 with 8 minutes left to go here in Q3. But that quickly changed to Kimi Antonelli with a 112.375. Verstappen, purple sector 1, green sector 2. Knows the time he needs to beat. He crosses the line on the front straightaway. 1/10 of a second slower. So, 1,000th of a second slower. Black and white flags for Hamilton failing to follow the race director's instructions. Unclear on what that could be. 7.5 minutes left to go. Verstappen 0.001 slower than Antonelli. So we're looking at something going on with Charles Leclerc. Has not left the pit box yet. Not sure exactly what is going on. And he has not left. We're looking at Oscar Piastri came up, but instead we're looking at something going on with Leclerc. Put the wrong graphic up there to the F1 graphics team. We're actually looking at Charles Leclerc in turn 3 at the top of Casino Square. And now here's Piastri. May have clipped the inside there into Rascasse and got loose. Definitely had some oversteer coming out. We can see the back wheels turning, and he did clip the wall with his left rear. 6.5 minutes left to go. Every driver in the pits getting ready for the final run, except for Hadjar. So they just made a quick little run out there to just get a time on the board, get their banker lap, as they like to call it. Looking on the sides, Verstappen is in. Hadjar looks like he's just now coming in. Gasly's in. Currently, every driver in the pits are just waiting for that one final push. As we're looking at the Mercedes here of Antonelli. Putting on another set of soft tires, the red compound. And coming out first, Charles Leclerc. Not surprising to see that, because he is currently in last on the running order. No further investigation. I believe that was for Lindblad for impeding in Q2, so he is good to go. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm yawning so much. This is really exciting. I really enjoy racing, I promise. 5.5 to go. Leclerc is still the only driver on track. And currently on Sky Sports, we're talking about Leclerc being the only driver on track at the moment. Just having to get his one lap in. So we're officially in the final 5 minutes of qualifying here at Monaco. We'll see when the drivers come out of the pit lane. You should have at least one clean lap to get a good time in, as Ferrari are getting ready for Hamilton. This is interesting timing. And here comes Leclerc. Currently, Piastri, Lawson, and Gasly are all coming out of the pits. We can't see where they are in relation to Charles Leclerc. He got out in front of them, at least of one of them, so he might be clean. So we'll see what he could do for his lap. And he comes around the Lowe's hairpin. We'll see how he does here, as he is officially in Sector 2. And here he comes through the Nouvelle chicane. He's got a car in front of him. Unclear, that might be the Racing Bull of Lawson. And of course, this is Leclerc's first true lap. He has the banker, but it wasn't a great one. He is currently 1 second slower than Antonelli. Might see him abort in the final couple of turns here and see if he can get a good lap. Yep, and he did abort. So he's going to do one more lap here. And he just accelerated heavily coming out of the final corner. Doesn't improve on his original time, so he's currently still sitting in 10th place. As we're looking at Leclerc, this might be his true flying lap here. So we are under 3 minutes officially in the session. Looks like the Mercedes had to get out of the way 1/10 of a second slower than Antonelli in Sector 1, which is a little bit worrying. But we'll see what happens with Sectors 2 and 3. And into the Nouvelle chicane once again is the driver from Monaco, the driver for Ferrari, who, of course, signed a multi-year extension. I think even past his current deal. Purple Sector 2, 0.4047 through Sector 2, coming out of Rascasse and into the final corner. We should expect to see him continue to push. This might be the provisional pole for the Ferrari man, for the home man from Monaco. Here he comes across the line. He jumps to first, 0.024, 112.351 ahead of Kimi Antonelli, who's now on an outlap. Oscar Piastri in a warm-up, potentially not seeing any timing from F1 TV at the moment, but here he comes across the line. This might be his push lap here for the Australian, getting his first lap. This will most likely be his last lap because he is in the time window of the clocks hitting 0. And we'll see what he can do as Norris has also started. Piastri 5/1000ths of a second slower than Leclerc in Sector 1 on this lap. Norris, this is probably Norris's last lap. He might be able to get through and have one more attempt, but we're looking at everyone's final attempt here. As looks like Verstappen might be able to get one more in. This might be it. This might be everyone's final lap here as we are officially at 50 seconds. Verstappen, purple, 0.215 over the Ferrari of Leclerc. Antonelli still in second, looking at Verstappen coming out of the Lowe's hairpin. Piastri does have the time to make one more lap if he has the battery and if he has the tires, but he's getting held up here by the Ferrari. Not sure of who that was. That may have been Hamilton, as here he comes across the final corner. And across the line, Oscar Piastri, currently in 8th, moves up to 5th with the green Sector 3. If you wanted to, you could push for one more. We are on board with Verstappen. This will be his final lap. Once he crosses the line, that is it. He will be the first official finisher of Q3 of qualifying for the Monaco Grand Prix. Hamilton, purple, Sector 2. Verstappen, purple, Sector 1. Russell, still green in Sector 1. And across the line to complete qualifying, Verstappen moves up with a 112.094. Purple 1 in 3 sectors. Here comes Hamilton. Does he improve? He does not. Second place. 11 world championships between the top two at the moment, and the driver looking to see if he can grab his first. George Russell coming across the line to see if he can improve his time at all, and he crosses the line. He moves up to only to 6th place. I thought that said 4th, but Russell is in 6th. Highest position he can start in the weekend. He's got some drivers behind him as Antonelli looking to see if he can grab pole. Somebody has crashed out there on circuit, and he does. Antonelli with a 112.051 crosses the line, does it in front of Max Verstappen. Wow. And that is most likely the end here as Leclerc looks like he have a puncture on the right rear. He's moving slowly. And he does. Leclerc has a puncture. Let's see if he should be able to get it to pit lane. He's coming into the final corner now. Not able to turn right. He's just going to pull off. Let's see what happened to Leclerc coming into Sector 3. Might have just gotten wide, and he did. Clip the barriers. And that is it for qualifying today. What an exciting session. And he hit the wall, not able to complete qualifying. And that is it. The Monegasque driver qualifies 4th. Thankfully, it looks like only puncture maybe has some right rear suspension damage, but that is it for Q3. So that puts it Kimi Antonelli with a 112.051 on the pole, grabs it from Verstappen at the very end there. Speaking of Verstappen, he's in second place. Lewis Hamilton is in third. Charles Leclerc is in fourth. Isaac Hadjar fifth. George Russell sixth. The McLarens of Oscar Piastri seventh. Lando Norris in eighth. Pierre Gasly in ninth. And Liam Lawson in the 10th position. That wraps up qualifying here for Monaco. We now know our starting grid for the race. I'm really looking forward to it. There's a chance we stream that tomorrow. We might not, but we'll just kind of see how it goes tomorrow. But yeah, exciting qualifying session. And finally, thank you so much for tuning on here on the Pit Straight. If you enjoyed this live stream, if you're watching it on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more motorsports content just like this. We've got the flying lap for Monaco coming out at 6 p.m. Eastern today here on YouTube. If you're watching over Twitch, you want to see our video content, go follow us over on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Tyler with the Pit Straight. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you soon here on the internet.